Iya, tapi ini. Ibu Ruth sedang bersiap-siap, tim Relu juga sedang bersiap-siap, diperhatikan di waiting room ya. Jika sudah ada, dipersilakan masuk.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon, everyone. I hope everyone feeling great and feeling motivated today. So welcome to the MAP's show, Monday afternoon with Pelton. And thank you for joining us today. So my name is Anissa Rahmadani from Universitas Pendidikan Indonesia, and I am honored to be your host for today's talk show. So today, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to acknowledge and welcome our special guest, Ruth Good, the Director of the Regional English Language Office, RELO, from the U.S. Embassy in Indonesia. Ibu Ruth, thank you very much for coming to our talk show today. And also Ibu Dian Savitri, the RELO Assistant from the U.S. Embassy in Indonesia. So ladies and gentlemen, as we know that today's talk show is entitled Lesson Learned from the TESOL Exchange Program in the USA, Trauma-Informed Design, Civics and Society, and Environmental Conservation and Sustainability. Like usual, this event is organized by Pelton, and we have a fantastic lineup of speakers who will share the experiences from TESOL Exchange Program in the US back in March 2024. So we have Ibu Yusnita Febriani from Universitas Negeri Malang here, Ibu Ika Lestari Damayanti from Universitas Pendidikan Indonesia, and Bapak Mahmud L. Hutasuhud from Universitas Negeri Medan. Ladies and gentlemen, everyone here, before we begin the talk show, please join me in welcoming the Vice President of Peltin, Ibu Ian Nurlailawati, to deliver the welcoming speech. Ibu Ian, the screen is yours.
Thank you, Ibica. Assalamualaikum, everyone. Good afternoon. A warm welcome to all of you. I am Ian Nurlailawati, the Vice President of Peltin. And it is my honor and pleasure to be here with you today as we are going to experience an insightful and impactful talks on lessons learned from the TESOL Exchange Programs in the USA. Today, we are privileged to have with us a panel of distinguished speakers who have experience with the TESOL Exchange Programs, Ibu Ika, Ibu Yusnita, and Bapak Mahmud. They will share their stories, their insights, and also perhaps their some practical strategies that can inspire us for our classroom practices. I am also pleased that we have RELO officials with us here, Ibu Ruth and Ibu Dian. Good afternoon. We are thankful that 3 of our members had the opportunity to participate in the TESOL Exchange Programs, and we hope that our cooperation is getting stronger and that we get more opportunities for more Peltin members. And I encourage all of you to actively participate in the talk show today. Together we can learn and grow and enhancing our teaching practices and making a lasting impact on our students. So thank you once again for joining us. Let's move to the, let's see and enjoy the journey of learning and the discovery that from our speakers today. Thank you. Back to you, Bu Icha.
Okay, thank you very much, Ibu Ian, for the insightful opening remarks. So, ladies and gentlemen, next we are honored to have Ibu Ruth Good. I'm sorry if my pronunciation is wrong, Bu. So, the Director of the Regional English Language Office, RELO, from the U.S. Embassy in Indonesia, to share a few words with us. So, please welcome Ibu Ruth.
Good afternoon, everybody. Salamat siang. I think I always get my siang and my sore mixed up. Maybe it's sore already. So thank you so much for inviting me to join you today. We are so excited that Dr. Mahmoud, Dr. Ika, and Dr. Nusita are working together with Peltin to share the knowledge they got from this exchange program. We selected them because we know they are change makers. Change makers who have a huge influence, not only in their own universities, but with the ministries and across Indonesia. And so we're so excited to be able to support them in this small way by sending them to participate in this exchange. So I know that they're going to talk much more about these exchange experiences and what they learned from them. But just as an overview, you know, Dr. Mahmoud, he explored environmental conservation and sustainability, getting insights not only into American approaches and practices, but also sharing Indonesian approaches with other participants from around the world. Dr. Ika participated in an exchange on American perspectives in civics and society, which gave her an opportunity to look closely at how diverse cultures and democratic values work in the United States. Never perfectly, but always growing, right? And Dr. Yusnita explored trauma-informed design in education, learning innovative strategies to support students' well-being. Many of our students have actually experienced some form of trauma. It's a big word, but by trauma, we sometimes mean just family sickness, the loss of a parent, could be poverty, maybe a tsunami, maybe domestic violence, maybe alcoholism, maybe bullying, whatever it is. So too many of our students have suffered in some way, and our job is not to pretend it doesn't happen, but to figure out how we can support everybody. So there are many definitions of learning. One definition I like is this: learning is an encounter with the other. Learning is the meeting with the other. So in other words, when you experience or look closely at something different, something new, or the way that different peoples or from different cultures do things, then you have the opportunity not only to think about new approaches, but also to reflect on your own culture and society. And speaking for myself, that reflection on my own culture has sometimes been more powerful than what I learned from traveling to other places. I remember when I lived in Japan for 3 years, and I learned so much about Japan, but I think I learned much more about my own culture. So anyway, this is the value of intercultural or educational exchange. As high-powered academics, we know that your experience will provide you with many insights over the years to come, and this newfound knowledge and expertise will be invaluable assets to Indonesia. So we're looking forward to kind of following you in your learning journey and figuring out where it takes you. And we know that you will continue to share your experiences, inspiring colleagues through webinars like this and students alike. And we hope that you'll be able to drive positive change in the field of education so that we can all incorporate approaches to environmental conversation, civic engagement, and trauma-informed approaches. More than anything, I think we hope that you will stay connected, not only to the Regional English Language Office here in Indonesia, because our function is to serve and support all you amazing Indonesian teachers out there, but also to stay connected to your new community of friends and colleagues around the world. People like you who came from Ukraine or Chile or wherever they came from, who all have different perspectives. And I think that rich conversation will really support you and bring great wealth to your new insights. So with that, I'd like to close the door on that conversation. But for all you Peltian members here who aren't familiar with Relo resources, I'd just like to share with you very quickly a few of the things that you will find on our Relo website. And I don't know if it's possible to, I should have asked for this before, possible for me to share my screen, but if not, let me just put this in the chat box. This is a link to our website, americanenglish.state.gov, and there you are going to find so many resources. You're going to find our academic journal, English Teaching Forum, with academic articles, but also very practical teaching ideas. You'll find so many downloadable, free, my favorite price, free, downloadable materials that you can look at and adapt or use in your own classrooms, some for young learners, some for older learners, and for the teacher educators out there, lots of stuff you can use there. Also, I think you'll find links to our social media pages on Facebook, where you can sign up for webinars on a whole variety of topics and links to MOOCs. But I think the most important thing, and I'll put the link in the page in a minute, is if you follow us on our Facebook and Instagram pages, you will learn not only about the latest materials we're offering, but also about the opportunities we have, sometimes for exchanges, sometimes for participating in workshops. We're just looking forward to being able to share them with you. So with that, I will just thank you very much for all the work you've done, Ibu Ika, Ibu Yusnita, and Pak Mahmud, and all the work we know you're going to do. Being a teacher is not an easy job. It's a vocation. The work never stops. So thank you so much for collaborating with Relo and being such great partners. That's all from me. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ibu Ruth. I love your energy and thank you very much for your inspiring speech. So, ladies and gentlemen, everyone here, now we will move on to the main part of our talk show. So, like I previously mentioned, that today we have 3 esteemed speakers who will share their valuable insights and experience from the TESOL Exchange Program. So we will first listen to the presentation and later, hopefully, we have time to discuss further about the issue. So our first topic is trauma-informed design. So this topic will be presented by Ibu Yusnita Febriani from Universitas Negeri Malang. Please, Ibu Yusnita, time's yours.
Thank you so much. Very good afternoon, everyone. It's an honor to be here. Special thanks to Ibu Ruth and Ibu Dian who kindly make time to attend our webinar this afternoon. Everyone, this is just a little share of what we have been facilitated by Relo to have a training on trauma-informed design. It sounds or it reads like a very serious, scary title, but I think once I tell you a bit more about it, then probably we can relate to this. We are going to keep this talk casual, hopefully, and along the way, if you have any question, you can keep it for a bit so that we can discuss a bit more later at the end of the session. And otherwise, I'd be happy to be interrupted and talk about it more. So in the whole of the program, the idea is to train ourselves to become a trauma-sensitive educator. And it means that we are all, I'm sure, kind teachers, and we need to be kinder because basically we don't know what our students have in their backpack. The program itself, everyone, was run in San Diego. This is San Diego at the, I'm not very good at with my direction. I think this is the westernmost of the US. Down the bottom, San Diego is right at the border between the US and Mexico. Very close, so that the whole of the culture is mix and match between the American culture and Mexican culture, actually. And this also apply to the structure of the society in San Diego, in which schools can be attended by people from a Mexican background family or a US background family. And as a matter of fact, people would cross borders on daily basis to either study or work from Mexico to San Diego and vice versa. It's very interesting, I think. It's a very nice waterfront city, San Diego, and it's a warm place as well. When we went there, it was the end of the winter, but again, it was pretty warm. So these are the new friends that I got to meet during the program. These are people, these are educators from all over the world. Some come from Brazil, Mexico, Turkey, Ukraine, Kenya, Egypt, and Bosnia-Herzegovina. Interesting backgrounds, everyone, and I was really humbled to study with these people because when we say trauma sensitive or trauma informed study, we have different types of trauma that students may have experienced. These teachers from different parts of the world, for example, teachers from Ukraine, would probably have their students coming to schools today. But in the next day, they don't know. They might be involved in some bombing and can't attend the school the next day. And people in Brazil and in Mexico, for example, they have different challenges. What happened to them would be stories about students being kidnapped by drugs cartels, for example. So it is very important to keep all the other students in the class to stay motivated, to stay focused on their learning, to keep them understand that education is one of the key to the changing of lives. While we were in San Diego, we had a lot of discussions and we visit schools and universities. One of them is us in front of High Tech High Media Arts School in San Diego. So this is a high school where students are allowed to study or to channel their interest in different types of arts to express themselves. I will show you more pictures later about high-tech highs. But other than that, we also visit some wellness center in a university in San Diego. And we also visited San Diego County Office of Education and Barrio Logan College Institute. Barrio Logan College Institute is an institute which was built by the community in the Barrio Logan neighborhood in San Diego. So this was built to cater for students who had difficulties with their families. They might have their parents working 2, 3, 4 jobs all at once just to be able to financially support their family. Hence, they might not have enough time to support their children's learning. Hence, the institute was built by the community to give helping hands for families in this situation so that students can be kept motivated and they want to be sure that the members of the community would be willing to be educated to continue their studies beyond high school on into college or universities. So this is a group, this is a community effort to get all of the kids, teenagers, and adolescents in the area to stay educated. So trauma-informed compassionate classroom is a type of a learning that is designed to create a safe space for students. At home, they might have different situations, and at school, we want to create an education that that ensures students' safety, that they can express themselves, they can study and learn their interests, the subjects that they like, and we want to establish predictability, which means that there's a pattern that they can expect. After we do this, we will achieve this. And after I finish this study, I will be able to reach something better in life, etc. This is the goals. And building a sense of trust is also very important because students may be traumatized from situations such as bullying or sometimes assaults. Sometimes it can be beyond verbal assaults. So that is important for the education system to be packed with teachers who can be trusted for these students. Having education, everyone, means to have choices for something better. This is what education system in San Diego in general and in the US in general, how these students, despite their backgrounds, despite their situations, they can have choices to do better in life. Let's say, even if their parents were not succeeding in education because of some situation, it doesn't have to happen the same way to them because they have these choices. And also to stay regulated, which means that they still need to follow school rules, they need to understand the system, they need to understand that education will take them to better places. Like I told you, this is what we saw in High Tech High in Coronado, in the media arts high school. So they express themselves. Students are allowed to create murals, to create many types of arts, to vent themselves, to express themselves, to deal with differences, discriminations, or any concerns that they may have at home, so that they can join, they can participate in the learning better. A simple trauma that may happen to almost everyone at school, for example, is following parents into new places and having to know new friends, new people, new situations. This can be hard on students, and knowing that a new place for them is a safe place is going to ensure that they will be doing or participating in their learning a better way. And from all of those things that I saw in San Diego, this is what I can learn and what I can apply into the context of Indonesia. In Indonesia, I'm teaching at an English department situated in East Java, and I'm also advisor for a couple of students' organizations and students' activities. And dealing with these students means that I have to deal with adolescents between 18, 22 years old. We have diverse background. Even though we are located in East Java, we have students coming from outside of Java, different places, remote areas in Java, etc. And trust me, these students have complex life. They might have to deal with parents. They lost one or both parents during pandemic. Some of my students have experienced sex abuse. Some were actually reported being raped as a younger person. They have issues with families. This is the first time they know new people, having relations with new friends. They are so worried about their future careers. They don't know whether they make the right choices by going to the English department, etc. And then there's competition, of course, academically here at the university. This brings certain burden for them. Some have childhood trauma. Some people have been bullied for their body shapes, for their smell, for their many things. And in this age range, students begin to know relationships. They begin to start having romance, etc. And this can also be hard on them if it doesn't go well. And this can affect it into their academic life. Finances and people to trust can be challenges that are experienced by students in university. So with this in mind, as an educator, especially in higher education setting, we need to be trauma sensitive, and it can mean a lot of ways. And we need to sometimes identify our students, why the students can participate well, why the others don't, why some people can be so shy and closed, unlike other people. So our job as a teacher mostly is to be willing to sit together with them and listen to them. We don't always offer solution, but we need to be willing to listen. And when we do listen, we want to be non-judgmental. They have enough of being told that you're not good enough, you are not complying with this and that rules. So it is not us to decide that what they did is whatever, wrong or right. So we just need to listen, being open, being objective, listening to every side of the story. And when we do provide supports, simply by making time, talking about discussion, sharing experiences, this will be enough for our students to understand that they're not alone, to understand that they are just one among 8 billion other people who's probably have the same challenges. So we need to make them sure that they can get through this actually. And communication is one of the keys. We need to understand the way the young people right now communicate, the way they talk, whatever they talk about, whatever is burdening them. So there's a lot of new things actually that I can actually learn from them, from spending time with them. Again, we don't always offer a solution, but we can share insights. We can show them, in my experience, this is what's going to happen. In the book that I have read, this is what you can probably do. Or you might like to try this and that. We can give them insights like that. These are capable adolescents, human being who knows how to think and act accordingly. We just need to show them the right direction, actually. So let me close this talk by quoting an American poet, Maya Angelou. People will forget what we say. People will forget what we did. People will never forget how we make them feel. We want to make our students to feel secure in the university or in any education context that we are. And that's actually a daily job of a teacher, of an educator, I guess. Thank you everyone for listening.
Thank you very much, Ibu Yusnita, for the presentation. I know everyone here, yeah, you can relate to what she has presented, especially about bullying, but keep your questions for now. Yeah, don't worry, you can participate in the discussion later. And because we are going to welcome the next speaker, Ibu Ika Lestari Damayanti from Universitas Pendidikan Indonesia, and she's going to talk about civics and society. So Ibu Ika Lestari Damayanti, the screen is yours.
Thank you very much. I'd like to use this opportunity to thank again to Rilo and Ibu Ruth, who has given us opportunity to learn more about teaching, as well as how we can interact with students with different backgrounds. So I learned a lot from this program, especially from this program focusing on American perspectives on civics and society. Even though we are different, American and Indonesia, but I found some similarities anyway. Okay, next slide, thank you. In this program, in this program, we have done lots of activities. For example, site visits to educational institutions, community organization, and some non-profit government organization. We also involve in professional meeting with U.S. counterparts, with the city council, and talking about some topics related to education and also the society. And what I like is that we also have opportunity to do subcultural activities and meet with the local people, and we get the hospitality from them, who invited us to dinner and feel how to interact with a family, an American family there. So I can have the first-hand experience, because before we meet with people, I have some stereotypes and prejudice about American. I have lots of worries and concerned. I'm afraid about so many things. And yeah, once I interacted with them, lots of negative thinkings can be cleared out. So I think it's very important to do some silaturahmi, what we can say in Islamic way. So it means that we need to interact, we get to know each other so that we can reduce all the prejudices or negative stereotypes. Yeah. Okay, next. In this program, I went to Seattle. So I think many of you have heard Seattle, especially those who have watched Sleepless in Seattle or the TV program Grey's Anatomy. So it's there in Seattle. It's in the border near Canada. So it's only around 2-hour drive, I think, to Canada. So Seattle is in the Washington state. So some of you might think that Washington, D.C. is in Washington state. At least that's what I thought, but it turned out Washington, D.C. is in different part of America. Yeah, so it's not in Washington state. Okay, so what does an American look like actually? So I learned from this program. Next slide, please. Actually, there is no one way to be American. Similar way to Indonesian, there is no one way to be Indonesian. Because when you say I'm an Indonesian, so is it from East Java, like Ibu Yusnita, she is from East Java, from Malang. Malang is very much different from people from Bandung, yeah, as Sundanese, like me and Ibu Ian. And also different from Pak Mahmud, who lives in Medan. So here, American includes immigrants, children of immigrants, naturalized citizens, and Black, Indigenous, and people of color from a variety of backgrounds. So when you said about American, it contains lots of things, yeah? How about diversity in Seattle? So I think Seattle also represents the diversity in the United States. So what do Americans mean by diversity? Yeah, it has something to do with lived experience or life background. I think Ibu Yusnita already mentioned as well about some a background or experience. Where is it? The students' background who come to the United States as immigrants, as refugees, it also gives colors to Americans, yeah, not only about race or ethnicity, as well as sexual orientation. It might not be popular in Indonesia about sexual orientation because, as we know, majority of Indonesian are Muslims, and we have so many. We have 6 big religions that still cannot accept about different kind of sexual orientation. But I'm not going to discuss it because it's going to invite lots of debates. But at least these are the things that we need to be aware of, especially when we teach. And we are teaching English language to Indonesian, and usually we also use some materials from English-speaking countries that have different kind of beliefs and cultural values. I think as teachers, we need to be aware of this. Okay, so another thing about what I learned from this program, not only about what I mentioned earlier about diversity, next slide please, is about gender pronouns. So the first thing I came, when I visited Seattle, people tend to introduce themselves, but not only by introducing or saying their names, but also about the gender pronoun that they would like to have when you make conversation with them. So how we can address them. So for example, I'm Ika Lestari Damayanti, and you can refer to me as she or her. And some, even though I can see physically she's a female, but then she might want to be referred as they or them. It's a bit confusing, not a bit, it's actually confusing because I'm an English teacher. How can I teach grammar? Because when I teach grammar, she is always related to a female, to a female, and then he to male, they is more than one person. But this time I learned that one singular person can be referred to as they. Maybe it's not common yet in Indonesia, but once when the students, because our students are exposed to many kind of texts, including those from outside Indonesia, and they might come across with this. So I think we have to be ready in explaining this. It doesn't mean that Indonesians need to accept this because this is not our value, for example, but at least we can raise awareness that there are some beliefs that have been accepted in some context. So what we need to do perhaps just to raise the awareness that there is this kind of phenomenon. Okay, so as I mentioned earlier in this program, we had a chance to visit City Council meeting. And at that time, the committee had an appointment with a Councilwoman Rivera. So Councilwoman Rivera is actually Spanish American, yeah. And she learned from her experience that education really matters. So she benefited from free resources, free public libraries. So even though she was at that time coming from low socioeconomic background, but she managed to get through a higher education and becomes what she becomes now. So in her position, she tries to fight for free public resources, public education that many students can access. And at that time, in the City Council meeting, we witnessed the discussion between the council and also the community. So they talk about incorporation of digital books into the library, and then they talk about how expensive the digital books are. So we learned that it's not, the government can decide something by taking the voice from the community. I think it's very important if we can do this, yeah. And also in that meeting, there's another topic being discussed, and it talked about keeping cultural heritage in that city. What I find interesting is that the voice from the community is not only from the senior citizen or from the adults, but even from students. So they would like to hear the teenagers' voices about that. It never came into my mind before that actually youngsters can be involved in making decisions. Okay, the next visit was that to Highline College. So this college serves immigrants and refugees, and it also offers not only education, but also services like mental health counseling and a food pantry, because how can they learn if they are still hungry? And as Ibu Yusnita mentioned earlier about the trauma and things like that, mental health counseling is available in this institution. I'm thinking that I know that in Indonesia we have BK, yeah, bimbingan and counseling, but I'm not really sure how it. I mean, maybe we can work together. It's not only the role of guru BK, the BK teachers, counseling teacher, but the subject matter teacher can also collaborate with the counseling teacher when we deal with some students that we might find them as naughty because we don't know what happened actually at their home, just like Ibu Yusnita mentioned, don't know what's going on with our students' life. So to ensure the success of education is not only about ensuring the materials is covered during the lessons, but we also need to know the students' well-being. And then we also had a chance to visit some schools, and I learned a lot about decentralizing and centralizing practices. I think Indonesia, with our new curriculum, the government is trying to do this as well by introducing the Kurikulum Merdeka. We have some learning outcomes or capaian pembelajaran, but how the capaian pembelajaran or the learning outcomes can be achieved and implemented in school, the government actually give rooms for teachers and school how to achieve those. So I learned a lot from these schools where they can have, I can see different approaches between two schools in the same district. One of the school took project-based learning. That's the picture in my left-hand side. So those are some rooms where the students can experiment to do the project-based. So the project-based learning is not only from one subject. It is the collaboration of lots of subjects. So that school implement project-based learning. And some others can follow the conventional way of teaching and learning. So it depends on the school. And what I also learned from the visit is that the inclusion of people with different ability. Yeah, as you can see, there's a teacher there, and then the dog is also there to help him. And I think, I don't know whether in Indonesia we can facilitate this or not, because some of us are afraid of dogs maybe, but here are the things that we might need to be aware of, that some people with some mental support with different kind of tools. I think we need to raise the awareness and open discussion with some different needs that our students or even our colleagues, yeah. And the last visit that we had was to the community institution. So at that time, we went to Chinese Information and Service Center. As you can see from the name, initially, this center serves only to the Chinese community. So what they do is that they help Chinese society to participate in the community. Yes, for example, because they have limited proficiency, sometimes they don't get access to health service just because of their health limitation in terms of the language to communicate. So this center helps these people to access public services that they can have. And it turns out that more and more people come to visit this center, not only from Chinese society, but also from other community and immigrants. So I can see that from this program and the activities, that to be a better community, we need to have collaboration not only from schools, but also the society as well as the government. And finally, I also had a chance to talk with the teenagers there. So we talk about what I want to know about America, and also they want to know about Indonesia. So this is where we can have cross-cultural communication, where we can clear out the negative prejudice about each other's culture. So I really appreciate this opportunity. Thank you so much. I leave it back to Ibu Anissa. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ibu Ika, for that thought-provoking presentation, especially about genders and pronouns. Yeah, but as you mentioned, yeah, this can trigger a lot of debate. But I'm looking forward to everyone sharing their thoughts later about this. Yeah, but let's have our final topic, which is environmental conservation and sustainability. That will be presented by Bapak Mahmud El Hutasuhud from Universitas Negeri Medan. Pak Mahmud, the screen is yours.
Thank you, Ibu Anissa. I'm used to doing this, presenting the last. Thank you, Ibu Ika and Ibu Jusnita. Okay, so it all began when I was invited through Ibu Ika to write an English textbook to be used nationally. And I, together with the team, we wrote a chapter on raising awareness, students' awareness on environmental issues. And it all began from there. So I got the chance to participate in a TESOL Exchange Program focusing on the environmental conservation and sustainability. And this exchange program, I would like to acknowledge before I forget, the Regional Office of English Language Programs, RELO, thank you so much, Ibu Ruth, and the U.S. Department of State Bureau of Educational and Cultural Affairs. And this exchange program that I participated in, was hosted by the World Affairs Council, headquartered in Northern Kentucky, but we stayed actually in Cincinnati, not really in Northern Kentucky, because it's a unique geographical area. The city of Cincinnati is like, separated by the Ohio River, and once you get across the river, then you can get to the Northern Kentucky. So it's a three-state region. It's very close. They are very close to one another. Sorry, I have to show you the right picture. So very close to one another. So Cincinnati, North Kentucky, and Indiana. But we got a chance to visit Cincinnati and Northern Kentucky, and we stayed in Cincinnati. So the exchange program, from what I experienced, was basically revolving around two purposes, but they are interconnected. So we visited schools and universities in both Cincinnati and Northern Kentucky area. And also we visited some nonprofit organizations. Let me tell you the stories about my visits, our visits to the schools and universities, and also the nonprofit organizations. But it doesn't mean we visited schools and universities first, and then after that we visited nonprofit organizations. So during the 8 days of this program, we visited school, and then after that, after lunch break, for example, we visited one nonprofit organization. So the schools that we visited, these schools have been implemented curriculums that that raise their students' awareness on issues related to conserving the environment and also sustainability. On the first day, we visited Center for Environmental Education and Kentucky Association of Environmental Education at Northern Kentucky University. And here we learned how they have been, designed, tailored the curriculum, the materials, the learning materials for raising their students' awareness, and also for helping schools around the university to implement, this curriculum that attempts to raise the students' awareness on important issues on the environment and also sustainability. And I also at this university, we got the chance to be trained as an aquatic wild professional educator, and we got certified. Wild here, it doesn't mean like wild as in the adjective, but here we were trained to how to practically implement materials related to what we could find around us. Okay, the environment around us. And we could actually incorporate all the things in the environment around us into the classroom. So it doesn't have to be, issues that are far away, not very closely related to the school, to the environment around the school. Okay, so it has to focus on the environment around the school. And then another school that we visited is the Aiken New Tech School. This school implemented project-based learning, and they are really concerned on sustainability. As you can see in the picture, the school has a farm in the back of the school. There is a farm, and they raise their own chickens, ducks, llama, as you can see in that picture, and they collect the eggs, and then process the eggs into lunch, and then also they also process their own coffee and sell their own coffee and collect money. And that's really, really fantastic because this school consists of many of the students in the schools are are immigrants, and they get really close to one another. They work together, in this farm and also in producing coffee, selling coffee. And we visited Euler School, and this school is really concerned on the level of carbon dioxide that keeps raising in that area. So they have started planting trees, and also they have made the rooftops green, starting from the school's rooftop. And then Thomas More University, we discussed how this university, the department that we visited focused on the biological topic around the Ohio River. So the Thomas More University here talks about how they tried to embrace the schools around the university and take care of the environment along the Ohio River, along with the habitats living in the river. And then finally, the Outlet Center for Education, Research and Sustainability, located at the University of Cincinnati. This is a daycare or a play group, okay, preschool for preschool children, and even for preschool children, they have brought in this issue to the classroom, talking about this, teaching this issue to these children. And they also have a sort of a playground, or I can say a farm also, near the center, where they usually take the children to play and also to learn about plants that grow in that garden or farm. So as I said before, besides visiting schools and university, we also visited nonprofit organizations, the Green Umbrella that worked with closely with schools around Cincinnati, and then tried to help schools in implementing, in incorporating the issues related to environmental conservation and sustainability. And they have the resources, they have the experts that are so happy to help with the schools. And also the groundwork, or if you still remember when I said we visited Euler School, the groundwork worked closely with the Euler School, and they helped, they provided their expertise in helping the students in making the rooftops green, in planting trees, in measuring the CO2 level inside the houses, the students' houses, and also outside the houses, so that they really work together. And that makes me envy actually how the communities really work together to ensure that the environment they live in, it's like livable. I mean, like it's not. Their attempts to reduce the pollution levels really serious. So, and not only involving the government, but also all the community members. And we also had a chance to visit Cincinnati Recycling and Reuse Hub. Here we could see the waste, the garbage produced by households in Cincinnati, the downtown area, and also the suburbs. Most of the garbage, was sent to this recycling and reuse hub. And this hub invited schools, parents, and also yeah, the communities around the hub also to help them sorting out the garbage, into there are different types of what can I say, the garbage to sort out, like this one is recyclable, this is just a waste, and so on and so forth. And they involve the communities around them. So again, it's all about how community members work together to ensure that the environment we live in livable, and the air is breathable. And we met, just like Ibu Ika, we also had a chance to meet with City of Cincinnati Council member Mika Owens, and a representative from the Office of Environment Sustainability. And here we got a bigger picture of how the city ensure that all these programs work well. All these programs work well, and also they ensure that all the buildings in the city, like they got like certified or something, because every building must have a license that that met the requirements issued by this council, and also the Office of Environment Sustainability. So that's our picture. The council member is the one wearing pink, and that is her trademark, wearing pink and big flower on it. So yeah, so definitely what I learned here is the cooperation, working together hand in hand. So we cannot just like let the government work. We as community members also have to work together to ensure the environment that we live in, good. I mean, like green, so it's not polluted. And we as educators have the responsibility here in raising teachers, lecturers, educators, have the responsibility in raising this awareness among our students. With better, I think it's better to start early and then make this their habit, the students' habit, so they are aware, they become so aware that we only have one earth. So every one of us has to take part, every one of us has to contribute. I think that's all, Ibu Anissa. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Pak Mahmud. Yeah, it's very interesting, as you said, that we can actually incorporate the environment around us and practice environmental sustainability in teaching, because we need to contribute. Yeah. So now I invite all the 3 speakers with us. Yeah. So everyone, if you have any questions, you can actually raise your hand or just type in the chat box. So right now I have one question. Yeah. So please raise your hand if you have a question for our speakers today. So, Pak Mahmud, this is for Pak Mahmud, yeah. So, Pak Mahmud, this is from Ibu Desiani Mulyasari.
I'm the last to present, Ibu Anissa. I got the first question. That's not fair.
Everyone will get the opportunity, but don't worry about that. So, in terms of environmental awareness in the school you visited, do you see any similarities and differences with the environmental awareness encouraged in some schools in Indonesia?
I would not say about the differences. It's about the intensity that we teachers, schools I know, okay, that I have visited. I cannot just generalize all schools in Indonesia, but many schools I know, they just like kind of not really, how can I say, lack of, okay, so lack of effort to raise this awareness, this environmental conservation and sustainability among their students. There are so many ways to introduce this, to incorporate this, to syllabus, to our curriculum, to our classroom. Whenever we want to talk about one topic, okay, and we can always take, this issue to that conversation in the classroom. So I would not dare to say differences, Ibu Anissa, but maybe lack of intensity, perhaps. Is that even a word? I'm not really sure. Okay, so
So
yeah.
it's not the differences, it's the lack of the intensity.
Yeah, that's what I can say. Because another school that I know also, this school located in Medan, really concerned about this issue. So not really sure. So yeah, lack of effort, I think.
Okay, lack of effort. That's the word. Yeah. Thank you,
Yeah.
Pak Mahmud. While waiting for others, yeah, please raise your hand. So I have a question for Ibu Jusnita. So what advice, Bu, because you're talking about the trauma informed practices, yeah. What advice would you give to educators who want to start implementing trauma informed practices in their teaching?
Yeah, thank you so much for your question, Ibu Anissa. I think it's like what I have highlighted or what I have disclaimed at the beginning of my talk. We are all kind people and we just need to be kinder. I mean, this also relates to what Ibu Ika has given us as an explanation. We begin to change the way she, because we don't know people's preference right now, we are going to get in to be more objective, uh, more safe, let's say, by saying there, they, for example, in some situation in which we don't know these people, for example. But in classrooms that we are, for example, when we are in, we may be teachers in SD, SMP, SMA, in higher education. We don't know family backgrounds of these people. We need to be careful in, let's say, discussing family trees, when we talk about what do you do with your family on holidays, for example. Probably not all of us would have complete family members to go holiday together with. So instead, we can ask question like, what's your favorite activities on holidays? So we want to encourage our students' participation in, and if they want to talk, they will talk about it. But we just need to be careful not to trigger certain sensitive information. Now, even when we talk about whether your family is complete or not, it can be traumatic for some people, maybe. And we might need to be careful about addressing people instead of saying, I can't remember your name. Can you please give me the answer? Somebody who's sitting there, instead of mentioning their body shape, for example, we can say somebody who's wearing this color of clothing or that color clothing. That's probably a better choice than to say somebody with this skin color or particular body shape. So there's a lot, and this is not adding into our responsibility as a teacher. This is already our responsibility so far. So we just need to remind ourselves again and again that we need to be kind. That's all, I guess.
All right, thank you very much, Bu Yusnita. So basically, we just need to be more sensitive towards everyone's background, and also we need to be kind. Yeah. So one last question for Ibu Ika. So Ibu Ika, you have shared your experience about gender and then pronouns. Can you share another like project or like memorable project or activity related to civics that you participated during the exchange program?
Yes, thank you, Bu Icha. So, one of the most memorable moments that I experienced there when I was invited into a family dinner with the host family there. So I didn't expect that they would like to go into so much trouble to provide us with halal meal. So the family searched up, so they had to go to halal butcher to get the meat that we all can enjoy. So I think that's really heartwarming. So I feel that I can see that when we interact we can separate all the negativity. And now I realize that, like, for example, American is not always like what Hollywood movies describe, with lots of criminals and hate crimes, things like that. So I feel so much appreciated when I had even though a very short visit, but I can have different perspective into the society. So yeah, I really appreciated that moment.
All right. Thank you very much, Bu Ika. So actually, I was looking for if anyone else wants to ask questions, but like, because all right. So one more question. Yeah. So it's from Pak Henry Warman. Last month, I had a project with my students asking them to create a digital poster related with Earth Day and project aim at raising students' awareness on saving the Earth. So this is for Pak Mahmud. So is that related with environment education, Pak Mahmud?
It is. It is. It is related to environment education. So wow, that's awesome, Pak Henry. Okay, I just hope that we can get in touch and then share what you have done with your students, and through Peltin definitely, Pak Henry.
We can suggest Pak Henry to be one of our MAP speakers or PLP for the next part, and sharing your project with us.
Sharing, and then try to encourage other educators, our friends, teachers, lecturers. Again, we only have one Earth. That's it. So yeah. Thank you,
All right.
Pak Henry.
Thank you, Pak Mahmud. Thank you, Pak Henry. And also there is an addition from Ibu Ruth, in relation to the gender. So she said that one more thought on the gendered pronouns. For example, someone might say, did the teacher come yet? And the answer might be no, we haven't seen them yet. It's easier than saying we haven't seen him or her yet. Yeah. So that's for that. So everyone, actually today's talk show is very interesting. Yeah. Wow, give applause, everyone. Virtual applause for our speakers. Yeah. So now we reach the end of our talk show. Thank you very much for everyone that joined us today. Thank you so much again for Ibu Ruth. Yeah. I would like to thank you all for attending and participating in today's event. But before we dismiss, there is a photo session. Yeah. So everyone, please turn on your camera and smile and be ready for the photo session. Yeah. Admin. Okay.
All right. Let's take a picture together. Okay, 3, 2, 1. All right. The second slide. Okay, 3, 2, 1. All right. Thank you. Back to the WeChat.
All right. Thank you very much, everyone, for coming again. And thank you very much for spending your afternoon with us. Yeah. We hope that you found it informative and inspiring. So please make sure to mark your attendance before you leave. And yeah, and have a wonderful evening. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.